Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the town's Property Standards and Animal Services Appeal Committee meeting this evening. My name is Jessica Black, and I am the acting chair of this committee. I would ask everyone with an electronic device to please turn it off or silence the meeting this evening. It is now 6:59 p.m., and I'd like to call this meeting to order. To begin, I would like to read the Town of Ajax's land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas, more specifically the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, signatories of the Gunshot Treaty of 1788 and the Williams Treaties of 1923. This land is and will continue to be home to the Indigenous peoples. Let us acknowledge the mistakes and traumas of the past with authenticity and support truth and reconciliation. Let us engage and celebrate Indigenous communities by being leaders of action, acknowledging the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's recommendations towards truth and reconciliation. Let us keep these principles close as we continue towards truth and reconciliation and move forward with kindness and respect as a community. Thank you. I'll now give a brief overview of the committee's role and the process in which we move through the appeals this evening. The Town of Ajax Property Standards Animal Services Appeal Committee has full delegation of the authority in the Building Code Act and the Municipal Act to hear appeals from both property owners and dog owners who disagree with a served property standards order or an order to restrain and make decisions on these appeals. The committee shall hear evidence presented by witnesses, town bylaw staff, property owners, the owner of the dog, and any other individuals that may have evidence relating to the matter before the committee. If an appellant or the town disagrees with the decision of this committee pursuant to a property standards order, the appellant may appeal to the Superior Court of Justice within 14 days of the committee's decision being sent. If an appellant disagrees with the decision of this committee pursuant to an order to restrain, the appellant may appeal to the town's General Government Committee within 14 days of the committee's decision being sent and pay the appropriate fees. This process will be outlined in the written decision that will be mailed to you after this meeting. Town staff will present their testimony to the committee. The committee will then ask the officer questions. At the conclusion of the committee questions, the appellant will then have the option to ask questions of the officer. This is only an opportunity for questions from the appellant and not for providing statements to the committee. This process will continue for each witness that will give testimony on behalf of the town. At this point, the appellant will present their testimony to committee. The committee will then ask the appellant questions. At the conclusion of committee questions, town staff will then have the option to ask questions of the appellant. This process will continue for each witness that will give testimony on behalf of the appellant. I will then ask each side to summarize their respective positions, starting with town staff. At this point, the committee will deliberate. Town staff and the appellant should remain present in the event that any additional questions are raised by any member that requires clarification. At the conclusion of our deliberations and decision, I will verbally notify the appellant of the committee's decision with regard to the appeal and remind you that you will receive the committee's decision in writing. Thank you. Item 2 on our agenda is from our previous meeting. Does any member here have any questions or comments regarding the minutes? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes? Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to pass the minutes from last agenda.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Let's begin our first appeal session for the evening. Is Arash Alkozai present? Yeah. Okay, please step forward to the microphone. Okay, thank you. So we're going to start with town staff providing information for us.
Okay. So just to summarize why we're here today is on May 13th, 2023, Town of Ajax Bylaw Services received a complaint regarding the property of 90 Church Street South, and in regards to the state of the property, that it was just filled with garbage and lawn grass and weeds, and that they had inoperable vehicles on the property. On May 13th, 2023, I inspected the property and observed multiple unplated vehicles, as well as large towable RV trailer, which was parked on an unapproved surface, as well as the debris scattered along the yard and the grass and weeds in excess of 15 centimeters in height. Images were collected and they were included in your package. On May 14th, 2023, a formal notice to comply was sent to the registered property owner of 90 Church Street South via registered mail, and the notice included to clear the debris from the property, as well as to cut the grass so as to be below 15 centimeters in height. And the notice expired on Sunday, May 28th, 2023. The notice was included in your package as well. On May 30th, 2023, the property was re-inspected, and upon re-inspection, the majority of the debris had been cleared. However, there were still multiple unplated vehicles, as well as other vehicles parked on unapproved surfaces, which had not been removed. And then the grass and weeds were also still within excess of 15 centimeters in height. There was also a large pile of concrete slabs, as well as other materials present on the property. And then pictures were collected as well, which were again included in your package. On June 4th, 2023, a property standards order was issued to the registered owner of 90 Church Street South to bring the property into compliance with the town's property standards bylaw by rectifying the conditions. The property standards order has again been included in your package. And then on June 26th, 2023, we received a letter from the registered property owner, Mr. Alcazar, to requesting an appeal. The letter was dated June 18th, 2023. Again, it has been included in your package. On June 30th, 2023, an appeal notification letter was sent to Mr. Alcazar advising of the time and date of the location of the upcoming property standards appeal. The letter itself was hand-delivered to his registered address, and it was hand-delivered to a woman who identified as his mother. Again, this letter has been included in your package.
Thank you. Does anyone in the committee have any questions for the officer? Go ahead, Anderson.
Just a quick question. The debris that was still there, like the concrete slabs and stuff like that, was that identified in the original notice to clear, or was that something new that showed up?
That debris was something new that showed up. As stated previously, the majority of the initially identified debris had been cleared. However, in the clean and clear notice, it stated to remove all debris, including what I observed at the time, but it was not limited to that.
Anyone else have any questions for the officer? Okay. Sir, you are free to ask questions of the officer. I will remind you, this is not time to give your testimony, but time to inquire. I'll give you time shortly to provide your own testimony.
Okay. I just want confirmation from the officer that the original notice that was sent just was regarding garbage and grass.
Through the chair, that is correct. The original notice was regarding the debris around the property and the state of the grass being in excess of 15 centimeters, and that was through the notice to comply.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Now you may proceed and provide your testimony.
Okay. I've written, a little notes, my notes here. Not all of it's relevant to I guess, the points in the notice, but it sort of to provide you guys with a bit of a context on what I've been dealing with on this property. So when I bought the property, it had tremendous amounts of garbage. The previous owner was a contractor who essentially used the backyard as a dumping ground. And you can go on Google Images and sort of see a lot of that stuff has been piling up over the years. I tried to get that removed as part of a condition of the sale, but the seller was not willing to comply. So I accepted that, and over time, I guess I've been steadily cleaning it. So I have a Ford F-150, and I'm not understating it here, but I've probably taken at least 60 loads of the garbage to the dump. And you can see sort of my challenge. I come from work. By the time I come, the garbage dump is closed, so it essentially leaves me only Saturday to do the cleaning, which is why it hadn't all been completed by the time the officer visited. Yeah, I mean, I've spent quite a bit of my money and time and energy to clean this place up. So the previous tenants that were living there, I guess, I'm sure you guys know the history, like somebody had died, which is what prompted, I guess, the sale and everything else. So I had to spend a lot of money renovating the inside to make it livable, which I did. I got it up and running, and now 3 tenants are living there. One of the tenants is a Mexican who has recently immigrated to Canada, and so I've owned this property for about 2 years. And one day I guess in May, he asked me if he can use the backyard for a barbecue party, and I said fine. And it's essentially all of this stuff started as soon as that barbecue was held, So to me, like, it all sounds a bit hollow that the people were concerned about the garbage and the grass and all this kind of stuff, because it was there for years. And anyone who was like living nearby could see that I've been cleaning it. So to me, it all seems to have started since that barbecue. Sort of coming back to the concerns. So the original order was issued just for grass and garbage, which I did, I complied with. The concrete slabs that he's talking about, as I was trying to mow the grass in certain areas, there were slabs. So in order for my lawnmower to not break down, I have to move those slabs to one side to be able to mow the lawn. So that's where those concrete slabs came from. Didn't come from anywhere else. And then there was sort of no communication. So I spoke to the officer, and I said, your points are valid. I will cut the grass and I'll clean the garbage. And I called him again to say that I required an extension, because he gave me 2 weeks or something like that. I said I required an extension, and I guess there was no communication after that until I got this sort of like, multi-page, very broader in scope notice that I had to comply with all these things. So it was a surprise that all of that came down. I'm really, and sort of another point of concern for me is sort of the lack of respect for privacy. There have been sort of multiple visits by the inspectors on the property, including taking pictures of vehicles, their VIN numbers, which, I still have to figure out what that was for. But, taking pictures of the people, I guess not the people, but, the property, multiple visits. I have a concern for the fact that sort of not enough time was given for me to comply. I guess speaking to one of the officers in the town, they said the trailer is sort of allowed seasonally, but the fact that yours is on bricks, that means that it's inoperable and you have to move it. Well, any trailer, if you don't want the tires to get damaged, you have to support it on blocks or on bricks so the tires don't get damaged from the weight. So that's why the bricks are underneath it. There's a comment in the order about the skid steer that it has to be removed because it's a commercial use vehicle, and I'd like to challenge that because it's not in commercial use at all. It hasn't moved at all since I moved it there, and it's really there for the redevelopment of the property when that comes about. So I'd like to challenge the commercial designation of that. And, you know, the officer told me not to bring this up, but I feel targeted because the neighbors all around me are not in compliance with any of these. And, you know, there's no fence, so anybody visiting the property multiple times could see that the neighbors are also not in compliance. So finally, you know, essentially, I'm in agreement with most of the points I guess stated in the order with respect to garbage and cleanup and grass. I think I would like relief from compliance with the trailer because that's been there since 2018. I inherited it from the previous owner, and the people are making use of it. So, you know, they like to have go there in the evenings and sit around and chat and be in that trailer. And the skid steer, again, it's not in commercial use, so it's not going back and forth. It's really just there. So essentially, I would like relief from those two orders. And then I would like additional time to comply with some of the other items there. You know, they've asked me to ensure that the shed is fully, I guess, blocked on all sides. Okay, fine. I just need a little bit of time to do that. But I've really essentially complied with most of the other points on the order. I would also like to bring to your attention that the property is going through a redevelopment process. So a redevelopment application has been made. Right now, it's just caught in limbo with the TRCA. You know, they've asked for some reports, and it's taken time. So essentially, as soon as the TRCA, you know, as soon as the compliance is done with the TRCA with regards to the redevelopment application, you know, then I would get the approval from the town, as I have spoken with town's planning department already, and we have had meetings regarding it as well. And you know, the redevelopment plan for the property is that essentially everything will be removed, including the house itself. So it's really just a matter of time that all of this stuff will be removed and a new building will be in place.
Are you completed your testimony now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for the appellant?
Michelle? I guess to start, how much time do you think you need to comply with all of this?
I guess I'm hoping that I get relief from compliance on the two orders, one with respect to the trailer and the other one with the skid steer. But for the rest of it, you know, I'm hoping, I guess if you give me till the end of July, I think that should be adequate to comply with the other ones.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, so from the pictures here, it looks like there are a couple of unplated vehicles. There's a motorcycle. There's what looks like a boat on a trailer. There looks like a box trailer as well as like a residential trailer or an RV style trailer. Which is the trailer that you're looking for the exemption on?
The RV trailer.
And have the other ones been removed from the property at this point?
Yeah. So the other trailer that you see on the picture, that's been removed. The vehicles are all parked on the driveway. Again, you know, the reason why they're parked in the property, it's a cultural issue. You know, I guess people, when they were having a party, they just like to bring their vehicles in, but I told them that they just have to leave it on the driveway, which is now in compliance.
Okay, and those vehicles are still unplated though, correct?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, that's all for me.
Just a further question about what you just said there. So you had stated that do the vehicles belong to the tenants? They're not actually yours?
Yeah, they belong to the tenants, they're not mine.
Okay. Okay. Additionally, the trailer, you said that I guess the tenants like to make use of it.
Yeah.
Is it actually inhabited? Are people living in the RV?
No, there is a bed there because, you know, one of the guys that lives in the thing, he likes to come there from time to time to relax and I guess bring his girlfriend to the trailer, which is not a concern for me. But no, no one's living there overnight.
So you'd said you wanted to keep I forget the name you called it, but the John Deere, the Deere equipment.
Yes.
You want to keep that on the property for future redevelopment of the property. Is there no other place that you can store that? Because I assume that the whole redevelopment process will take some time to actually begin. So
Well, so the application for redevelopment has been with TRCA for about a year. And, you know, I don't know if you guys know about this, but essentially TRC has designated that entire stretch of Ajax Pickering as non-developable, meaning that you have to sort of model the entire Duffins Creek watershed, which is, you know, a bit much to ask of a development, but that's their requirement. They've asked for the entire sewer shed to be modeled before and after the development, which is what I'm doing. It's, you know, it's a hard task to do, but it's essentially that's the only sort of roadblock in terms of the development application itself. So you know, I started with something and we met with town's planning and we sort of narrowed it down to something that I think we both can work with. So I don't foresee sort of much of a timeline from approval from the town side, but it's really everything's holding back on the TRCA's approval.
okay, so theoretically that Deere equipment could be there for an extended period of time. You're asking for relief on.
Probably.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, the town, do you have any further questions for the appellant?
I do not.
Thank you. At this point, now we are going to go into deliberation after each side summarizes their argument and position. So I will ask the town staff to please provide a summary of your position, and then I will ask the appellant to summarize as well.
Again, when I went to the property, I noticed multiple violations of the property standards bylaw. So I believe that the property standards order should be upheld, as well as there was an inquiry placed into the building and planning department on when the actual development of the property would take place. Thus far, no demolition permit or no development plan has been put in place, so it could be months from now at the earliest before anything is being done. So that's why, again, why I believe that the property standards order should be upheld.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I think sort of from my perspective, I think the rest of the order, although not stated in the original letter, which was, you know, essentially just about the grass and the garbage, the rest of the order with respect to, you know, the items regarding the shed and the other trailer and what else was it? The driveway length, all that kind of stuff. I think, you know, I would like to comply with those orders, but I would like relief from the compliance with the RV, removing the RV and the skid steer, because I think, you know, the RV is seasonally allowed in the town of Ajax, and the skid steer, it seems that the designation there is that it's a commercial vehicle, and I've said that it's not. It has never been moved from the property since it's come in. So I would like relief from those 2 points.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll ask you to have a seat while the committee deliberates,
Okay.
and then we will provide you with our verbal response. Okay. Does anyone have any thoughts or comments? Oh,
Just in terms of the RV, I'm not really seeing any compelling reason why it must stay in the yard at this point in time. It looks like it's just used recreationally. Um, it's not in compliance. It's not on an approved surface. It's in the backyard. I don't see why that can't be towed and stored at a, say, third-party storage location where other people actually store their RVs. The same thing with the construction equipment, I'll call it. I appreciate and can I'm thankful that someone's making the investment in trying to redevelop the area, which is badly needed. But it can be stored in a non-residential location, such as some specific storage facility, in my opinion.
thank you, Paul.
Say, I'm of the same opinion of Paul. I think that, especially the commercial vehicle, should be stored somewhere else. I think it's not approved surface and it's a commercial, I would consider it a commercial vehicle personally, so, I'm kind of in agreement there.
I would concur with the other two members here. I do believe it is commercial, and the RV really doesn't have a spot, and the use of it was not really justifiable for it to be on the lot. Further to that, even though the vehicles are on the paved surface, if they're not plated, I think that should also be addressed. I'm okay with the appellant's request to have it done by the end of the month, which works for me, I think.
Yeah, I would concur that the RV, as the gentleman stated, he inherited it with the property. It's been there since 2018, which lends me to believe that it is not operable, it is not being moved appropriately, therefore it is not considered seasonal, because it is there year-round since 2018. And agree about the commercial construction vehicle, that it should be stored appropriately and not in a residential yard. So I think, given that this gentleman has taken time to come and provide his testimony and has requested a reasonable time period, maybe by allowing an additional, the 30-day time frame to start today, that would allow him to make arrangements for all of the items that have been recommended in the order to be dealt with. So I think, does anyone want to put forth a motion?
Sure. I would motion for the order to be upheld and with the extension of the date until August 8th,
August the 8th?
2023.
Okay. I guess the motion then on the table is to uphold the order as written with one amendment. The date for which the compliance must be in would be August the 8th, 2023. So we can vote. Perfect. That motion has passed. Sir, if you want to please step forward. So the committee has found that the motion or the order as written will be upheld. We are extending the date for all compliance, including the removal of the RV trailer and the commercial vehicle, to August the 8th of 2023. So that gives you an additional week.
Right. So I had asked for an extension for the other items. For the RV, I think my point on it being seasonal is that that season goes till the end of November, I think. So I think at the very least, I would like it to extend to that time frame for the RV.
So the committee has put forth a motion and voted and upheld the order as written. So if you're in disagreement, you will receive this decision in writing. If you are in a disagreement, you can make an appeal to the Superior Court.
Is that Ontario? Superior Court of Ontario?
Correct. Thank you. That concludes business of 3.1. Now we're ready for agenda item number 4, the verbal update.
Thank you. Through the chair, with regard to 185 Angus Drive, this was in relation to a pool that was not opened. This matter was investigated by the officer. An order was issued. The committee heard the appeal, and the appellant appealed the order to the Superior Court of Ontario. As such, the appeal was not filed appropriately, and through the staff or the town solicitor following up, the appeal was abandoned during the winter in the court. At the beginning of this season, the officer re-inspected the property, found that the pool was not opened, issued another letter in relation to the order is now final and binding, and within 2 weeks, the pool was opened and brought into compliance, and the matter's now been closed.
Thank you. Is there any new business to discuss?
Through the chair, the town has an item we'd like to discuss.
Yep, please go ahead.
Thank you. Since the formation of this special meeting tonight, the town is now in receipt of 2 additional appeals. We know that our regular scheduled meeting is September 14th. One of the matters that's before the town is involving an incident of a dog bite that's fairly significant. And we know that the orders that are typically issued on the owners of the dogs can be quite comprehensive for the dogs. So we would prefer if availability of the committee, that if we can get 3 members that are available either August 22nd or August 23rd, it would be our preference if we could schedule another special meeting for the committee and hear these 2 outstanding appeals. If the committee is not available, the town's prepared to acknowledge to the appellants that their appeal meetings will be at our regular scheduled meeting in September.
Thank you. Is everyone available for one or both of those dates? Go ahead, Paul.
Yes, I'm available for August 22nd or 23rd.
Okay. Michelle?
I'm available for August 22nd.
Okay. Anderson?
I'm available August 22nd as well.
Okay, and I'm available August 22nd. So we are prepared to meet at that time.
Motion.
Can we have a motion? You're live, sorry.
So yeah, I have a oops, no, I'm off. I have a motion to have the special meeting on August 22nd.
Okay, so we vote on the motion? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, and that concludes the matters for the town's new business.
Okay, thank you. That does conclude the business that we have on the agenda at this time. So at this point, can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Yep,
Like the motion that we adjourn the meeting for today?
perfect. There we go. Motion adjourned, or motion approved. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.